fear of failure. You have a fear of success. And that's why you don't put down the very things, the habits, the mechanisms, the mechanics, the systems of thought, the systems of action that lead you to failure. If you were afraid of failure, you would do the very things to stop you from failing, but you've been failing for a long time because you won't stop doing the things that lead to your failure because you're not afraid of failure. You are afraid of success. I'm going to be real redundant today, but it's because I've learned by experience from hanging out, not with you, but with myself, that we don't really be listening. Even when we hear one another, we don't really be taking the time to let things settle in to the point where we can comprehend something that's not coming from our own perspective or interpretation. Understand, it's time that you stop acting as a filter, making everything said to you and towards you personal, making every act towards you something that you take as a direct shot or a direct attempt to propel you or hinder you in some type of way. It's time that you consider maybe people are just as wrapped up in their experience as you get in your own, and maybe they don't have the time to consider harming you or helping you the way you think they should or the way you think they do. I might come across as a little redundant today because of our past experience with hard heads and closed ears, shut minds, to the point where we will read the title of a video and think that we are capable of deeming it watchable, worth my time, or a pile of trash. Understand, it's that level of thinking that is the pile of trash. And I don't say that because my content gets critiqued in such a way, even though it does. It's not personal for me. Your closed-minded nature that causes you to shut down and shut out any idea that you can't interpret and agree with. It doesn't speak volumes of the message being spoken. It speaks volumes of how you've chosen to manage your physical experience and your mental plane. That's on you. I really won't suffer for it because I'm not going to be the one that's trying to force my way past the brick wall that you have put between you and truth. You're not in a war with me. You're not disapproving of me. The only way you're disapproving of me is if I'm coming out here rambling on and on about my opinions and about my perspectives and about my point of view. But the fact that I've put all those things to bed and I've silenced my opinions and my assumptions and my superstitions, and I'm no longer living by my suspicions, and I no longer have this emotional allegiance to my outlook and my opinions that causes me to butt heads with anyone who sees things a different way. It lets me know, even if you don't know, that you're not at war with me. You're not at war with the way I think. You're not at war with what I want. You're not at war with my ideologies. You're at war with truth, and it's because you still can't see it yet, and it's because you've still partnered yourself with something else. And outside of truth, there is nothing else. So that means you've partnered yourself with illusions, once again. Today, let's lock in on this one concept. Desperation and creativity do not and will not ever go hand in hand. You were born creative. Nobody had to teach you how to be creative. The creator of all things created you in that image and in that likeness and with that very nature, because how could you birth something that's of another nature than yourself? The creator created you all that he is. The creator created you creative. perfectly creative. But we lived inside of a society. We lived inside of a culture. We lived inside of households that did not cultivate and develop said creativity. It actually promoted the suppression of this creativity and promoted conformity to a way that seemed right and led to destruction. You were taught, just like me. You go to school, you get good grades, you graduate, you go to college, you get a good job, you get them benefits. And that's how you make sure that you live a life of decency, normalcy, and survive inside of a world where many are struggling and do not have what they need. One illusion will always lead to another. One fear will always lead to more. In school, they did not teach you what you needed to know to be successful in life. They taught you what you needed to conform, compromise, and obey an employer. Your job security is based in you doing the same thing you did in class. Following the rules, performing well, and showing up on time. When you went to college, it was more of the same. You just had to mature in the illusion of control and time management. You had to further submit yourself to the illusions that you had grown to get illusionary benefits from. You say your grandmother and your mother taught you to give, and you have the heart of giving, and you're naturally a giver, and you want everybody to have what you have, or at least those who you care about. But be honest. Grandma and mama and them taught you to give to those who gave to you. Grandma and mama and them taught you to take care of your people after you made sure that you was straight. Because you can't take care of nobody if you ain't straight. Grandma and mama taught you what they knew, and that was self-preservation. And the self-preservation was extended to your loved ones. But your loved ones were those who were connected to you by genetics, those who were connected to you by experience and past attachment. But what about the collective? What about all being one? To be honest, this is the type of stuff that I use to challenge the statements that come out of people's mouth. Because a lot of times we give real heavy, sweet nothings to people like, I love you. And do you know that there's a way to see, not a way to judge, not a way to critique, a way to examine, a way to observe, a way not to challenge, but a way to verify that the love that is being spoken is the same love that is being shown in action. And I can tell that by one thing. Listen, if you love me, that means you and I are one. That means you have given yourself to me as freely as you give yourself to yourself. Because that's the best you can do. You can't extend yourself no further than you extend yourself to you. So when you say you love me and you say you have given yourself to me, then you and I have become one. But I ain't never seen you complain about having to give yourself something. I've never seen you upset about adding value to yourself. See, when you add value to yourself, you call my phone and you're happy about it. But when I call you and I ask for you to add value to me in a way that you are not prepared or did not foresee coming, now you're irritated. Now you're agitated. Now you're doing something you never wanted to do, and you're growing to dislike me. And that's because this was not a love situation. This was not an unconditional based partnership. This was not a unity of peace and prosperity leading to the abundance flowing between multiple parties. No, this was self-service. In the minute that I became a burden, you got the desire to go and find you somebody to add the benefits that I was scheduled to but fell short of. And a lot of people want roses because they didn't have the heart to go and find a new partner, because they have a fear of partnering with new people because they don't know how to let go of the old. So a lot of people want flowers for staying and becoming abusive to the point that they tried to force you to give them what they wanted. Desperation and creativity do not go hand in hand, and they never will. If you are reaching in the pot of desperation, your creativity has been thrown out of the window. You are not conscious of your creative nature. You are not tapping into your God power. You are not calling to you what it is that you desire, what it is that you have heard from within that you are purposed for. You are chasing another imagination. You are chasing another illusion, thinking that it will take you to this illusionary place that you have pictured on the inside of yourself, that you think is going to be the place of peace for you. But how many times do you have to run in a circle chasing your own tail? T-A-L-E. Chasing your own T-E-L-L. Chasing what you done told yourself, only to get to the destination that you thought would be your salvation and find that you have found your new persecution. You have found your new warden. You have found your new cellmate. You have found your new prison block. Because the prison is not the places that you keep landing. It's the mental space that you keep returning to for the solutions. You've been playing in the branches again when the root of the issue is you think that you're going to think your way to success. No, you're going to submit your way to success, or you ain't going to get there. You're going to drop your act. You're going to drop your performance. You're going to drop your beliefs, your superstitions, your paradigms that have been broken from the beginning, your upside down thinking. You're going to return to original form. You're going to get back to your true identity. You're going to partner and align with the universal laws that govern this entire experience, or you're not going to flow into success the way you see yourself. You do not have a fear of failure. You have a fear of success. And that's why you don't put down the very things, the habits, the mechanisms, the mechanics, the systems of thought, the systems of action that lead you to failure. If you were afraid of failure, you would do the very things to stop you from failing, but you've been failing for a long time because you won't stop doing the things that lead to your failure, because you're not afraid of failure. You are afraid of success. Bro called my phone this morning and he told me he could see it. He said, I see it clear as day, bro. I see it. The root issue in this world, in this experience, is greed. It's greed everywhere you look. And I sat in silence. I can't say that I agreed, but I didn't fight against it. I allowed for his words. I allowed for his observation to land on my palate without my judgment. That's an art in itself. One that if you don't have yet, you should develop. Because when you think that you can judge every incoming thing, that means that you think that you are superior to the presenter of the very information that you are judging. And you should ask yourself who taught you to think that way. And you should ask yourself, what are you going to do about it? Because it's really not becoming. It's not the way of a student. It's not the way of a teacher. It's not the way of a leader. So I sat with it and I thought to myself, I'm not greedy, or am I? And I looked at what greed was, and I realized in that moment that greed wears many different masks. What we call jealousy, what we call envy, bitterness. All of these things are birthed from greed. The root of jealousy, the root of envy is greed. For you to be created by the creator of all things and the sustainer of all things, who has freely given you dominion and power over yourself, giving you the ability to call to you anything that you get it within you that you want. Answer is yes, and more. You spent so much time griping over getting the very things that you've asked for based on what you've given your attention to, because you have an ignorance of what your attention is. And you also have been very unconscious of where your attention has been flowing. You'll tell people all the time as hardships rush into your life back to back that you don't think about and haven't been thinking about things going wrong. You never thought that that person would do such a thing. You never thought that they would say that. You never thought that you'd find yourself in such a situation. But one day you'll become a student for real, and you'll be able to sit and allow for your consciousness to take you back to the very moment that you called everything that you are experiencing to yourself. My mother used to tell me when I was a child, and I never gave it the time of day, never looked at it. She started telling it to me in the 3rd grade when I got wrote up in music class for going behind the piano that had a big sign on it that said, "Do not go behind," because my best friend, Chris Clatt, had went behind the piano. And me being old superhero, I go behind the piano to go save him. Teacher don't even see Chris behind the piano. The teacher see me. I get rolled up. My mama whoop me. And then my mama tell me, "You always trying to save somebody. You need to be more mindful of the people that you hang around." And she told me that from 3rd grade till I graduated. And after I dropped out of college, because I stopped in Polk County to pick up my cousin that ain't had nothing but a bag of clothes and a jammed .32 pistol. She still was telling me that. And it wasn't until yesterday that I said, I'm doing all the right things to be the billionaire that I see myself being, to be able to provide the life for my kingdom the way that I see myself providing. I'm doing the right things, but I'm around the wrong people. I'm extending my gifts to those with no gratitude, to those in competition with me, to those who don't have the ability to reciprocate the value that I extend. And I realized that my mother was correct. Probably about 20 years later. But that allowed for me to see something in me that I was not seeing before. Do you know the result of giving yourself to people in ways that you never wanted to give in the first place, but gave out of obligation and sacrifice? Without you even knowing it, these people become your debtors. These people become those who owe you their very life, their very existence, their very success. And you think that you have the power to dictate what they should have did, when they should have did it, and how they should have did it, because you played such a big role in them having it. On the flip side, when you're being creative, there's no reason to be desperate. When you're being creative, everything that you are looking for is within you, and you have the ability to call it to you by divine strategies that are flowing freely through you. All you have to do is stand still. All you have to do is remain open, ready to receive, trusting, knowing that what you are looking for is freely provided, already there and available, ready for you before you even know you need it. This is what trust looks like. This is what faith in God is. You were given the faith of God. Stop trying to cultivate and pretend and fake like you have your own individual faith. You don't believe in nothing unless you think you can prove it. Even all of your emotional rants about how real the external God of judgment is and how serious the detriment of not believing in a place like hell is going to prove to be for those who do not share this fear with you. It's all based on experiences that you interpreted along your path of belief that locked you deeper into what it was that you were told. At no time are you dealing with fussing about and carrying on about what you know. Just like what we call change. 9 out of 10 times when you say you changed something, all you did was rearranged what was already there in a way that it appears to be different. If you ain't threw out no furniture, if you ain't stripped down the walls, if you ain't pulled up the carpet, and you haven't gone in and reassembled the room with new furnishings, with a new decor, you ain't changed nothing.